Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we have another community replay. This one in the Montana and sent in by none other than Lars OD. Once again, they have a YouTube channel. I will leave a link down in the description to their channel below. So make sure you guys go over, check them out. And if you enjoy what they do, punch that like button and subscribe button for them. Now, let's get into this. Now, you guys know I don't normally showcase ships in community replays that I play a lot of. Reason being, I prefer to play those ships. However, this is a rare exception. This is a great game sent in by Lars, and I had to showcase it. It's fantastic. So right off the bat, we're going towards the north. Why? Because we win our spine, or we play our side. We don't run away. We play our side. We try to do the best that we can to win our side. So as we go to the north, one of the things I want you guys to keep an eye on is map and cap control. This is a domination match. How many times have I brought up the fact that in a domination match, the domination is the name of the game? Literally. If you fail to take over caps, more often than not, you will lose a domination match. So, keep that in mind. Now, we are spotted. Nobody else is. Meaning, there's a good chance that it's a destroyer that's spotting us. You can see he looks behind him. He asked for support from the enemy, or from the friendly Des Moines. As the Alaska gets spotted, we're going to go ahead and we're going to aim high, go for superstructure here as the Alaska reverses behind the island. And we get an okay result, but it could have been much better. We got to be careful here because, yeah, I was going to say, you're going to end up getting shot by a bunch of stuff behind those islands real soon. Fortunately, the Alaska was the one spotting us, it seems. Conqueror, however, didn't get the shot off in time. That is sadness. That is actual sadness. That Conqueror was begging for it, folks. If we could have got that shot off, that would have been huge. But instead, we've got the Alaska here. Now, will we wait to shoot the Alaska to see if the Conqueror is going to come out and fire his guns or do something crazy? Because our teammates are shooting. So there's a chance that, you know, with them getting spotted, the Conqueror will fire his guns and get spotted. Is that what's going to happen? Well, teammates are doing damage to the Alaska, and here comes the Conqueror. Conqueror has actually ended up going, as we've kited away here, we've gotten out of range of being able to shoot the Conqueror. However, Grosse Kurfürst comes forward and immediately makes the turn that every battleship captain for the Germans ever makes, which is just turn broadside. Get all your guns to bear, regardless of how many enemies are there to potentially make you regret life choices. It doesn't matter. Just fire all your guns. You have turtleback armor. It will save you from your own stupidity, right? Wrong. And immediately, Grosse Kurfürst has lost a quarter of his health, and if things keep up, we'll lose a lot more than that. Now, we are in a kiting position here, and while it's not my favorite position to be in the Montana, it doesn't mean it cannot be effective. So, as we take another shot at the Grosse Kurfürst here, he's bow in, so we go for superstructure, aiming a little bit higher, and get a solid result out of it. Landed several shells. Some of the shells didn't do any damage because they hit either the belt armor or hit the turret armor. But notice that the Grosse Kurfürst is now half health. He's not as broadside as he was, but he can't angle against everybody. And he is in a crossfire potentially as he shoots at our teammate. Our teammate has lost all of his hit points. We take another shot at the Grosse Kurfürst superstructure, and this is a much better result, getting seven shells worth of damage on that Kurfürst with 5 full pins and 2 overpins. Our teammate is not long for this world, so we're going to take advantage of it as long as we can. You can see that this Kurfürst is just like, I couldn't be bothered. So now he's like, well, if I'm going down, I'm going to fire all my guns one last time. And he opens up the angle and goes full broadside in front of a Montana at close range. And immediately loses all of his hit points and gets finished off by our Des Moines. However, our battleship is still alive but hanging on by a thread. And we have taken very little damage at this point because the Conqueror was so far out of play, he couldn't help his teammate. Now look in the minimap. You can see that there is a couple of things going on. First of all, both teams are fighting for the outside flank caps, but there's also a second battleship behind that Conqueror, and we didn't know what it was. Well, it's now lit up, so we're about to find out what it is. We have a Conqueror and a Montana. The Alaska, we get a shot out at them, do a little bit of damage, and Conqueror gets a couple of hits on us, gets a fire. We need to get rid of these guys ASAP. Having a Conqueror here for HE damage, as well as the Montana with all of those fantastic armor-piercing shells, is going to be a rough ask out of a Montana. So getting rid of the Conqueror as soon as possible is a huge priority. That is a lot of potential damage you cannot angle against. So our teammate has, to his credit, managed to hold on and re-heal a lot of his health, so that's good. The Alaska still hanging around, still burning from the Des Moines. Des Moines doing a pretty good job of standing tall and put himself in position to continue to shoot at the Alaska. Conqueror is firing HE at our Des Moines. We just took a hit from the Montana, and we've taken a decent chunk of damage from these guys up to this point, but most of it is relatively easy to heal. We've got 2 more heals left. The Des Moines has avoided any significant damage up to this point, so that's good. Conqueror is still trying to focus the Des Moines, though. And we just watched the Montana fire at our Des Moines, which is a lot scarier if you're in the Des Moines. But Lars elects to shoot at the Montana here, which I don't know if this is the right choice. There's one or two thoughts to this. Either he's shooting at Montana because he feels like the Montana is the bigger threat, or he's shooting at the Montana to try to get the attention of the Montana off of our Des Moines. Because as you can see, Des Moines immediately has to turn and run away. He has lost all of his hit points very quickly because of that Montana. So that is one of the thought processes here, but unfortunately it does not matter as the Des Moines ends up going down. Now we are again finding ourselves in a kiting position. We have given up our flank completely to try to regroup with our team on the other side. You can see on the minimap, the last known position of the destroyer was on that left flank. So we are heading into the direction of that destroyer. Now personally, because of the Alaska backing off here, I would have liked to have seen us re-engage this Montana and Conqueror a little bit more aggressively and try to then push this side back. You have time between the reload of the Montana to get our Montana turned back in here. But as we continue to kite, we're kiting further and further away from the objective. Sure, we're getting closer and closer to our teammates, but while we're stacking up damage, we really haven't done a whole lot to put ourselves in position to win, right? Damage is great. Winning is better. And we do finally get the kill on the Conqueror, which is a little bit long overdue, but all that matters is he's gone. And now we've got this Montana. That Montana's going to have to think twice about continuing this push because now he's by himself. He's going to be focused by our team. The Alaska has pushed himself back into Charlie. Our team has completely fumbled the Alpha cap, giving the enemy to that cap, or giving that cap to the enemy. So now the enemy has all of the cap control, and thus they have the advantage. They are winning by 200 points. The only way they lose this is if they go stupid mode and throw the game. Again, recognizing when you have advantages and using those advantages to the best of your ability is the difference maker a lot of the time. Now here we know that the Montana has a nasty belt, so we got to try to aim up a little bit. We saw him start to turn out, but he stopped, and so we aim up for upper side plating, superstructure area to try to get as many pins as possible. And then we obviously are watching the Alaska over here, who's got a nasty look at our broadside, and we know how nasty the Alaska can be. So as we turn back in, we've got our guns for the Alaska. Alaska immediately recognizes that we're about to fire at him, starts to turn away, which is actually the wrong choice for the Alaska here. The Alaska could absolutely bow tank us, but because he opens that angle, he opens himself up for that potential kill. Now our teammate hit him right before we did, and must have taken all the damage off of him because we only got one Citadel and killed him. But that's our second kill, giving us a little bit more damage per hit. Remember, we've got the legendary mod on this ship. Now the Zhao has put himself in a crossfire. Again, nobody paying attention to the minimap is actually infuriating from a experienced player standpoint. But Zhao putting himself out there, going full broadside, down he goes. That gives us our third kill and our third proc of the damage on the legendary damage, legendary artillery plotting room mod, which increases our damage. Now the Montana's still chasing us. He's not shooting us, he's shooting at our teammates. The enemy still has a 200-point advantage, but they only have a 1-ship advantage. What this Montana should be thinking right now is just turning and running away. There's less than 5 minutes left, you have a 200 hit point advantage, and there is absolutely zero reason for you to continue to pursue this team around the map. All it can do is lead to a situation where your team can throw the match. If he just turns and runs here, he wins the game, right? Because he stays alive, and his team, even if they throw, his team still wins on points. Because we cannot win on points by killing the rest of his team. And we lose our Marlboro. So now we're even further out of position to win on points, right? Now, we've got a shot at the Admiral Schroeder here over the island. Schroeder not paying attention. Starts to move. We get a shot over the island. This shot is looking beautiful. And if you watch the minimap, the Schroeder is still going forward and broadside. And, bonk, there's our 4th kill. Again, people not paying attention to the minimap. This Montana has been spotted this entire time by the Montana behind us, right? Like, it's not like we're not being spotted. The Montana behind us has now started resorting to shooting HE at us. Our friendly Schlieffen is in a situation where he's going toe-to-toe with the Z-52 and the Conqueror here, which is a good situation for the Schlieffen because the game's almost over. If we can get rid of both of these last 2 ships, that gives your team a chance. And especially if you can get rid of that destroyer. Whatever happens at this point, that destroyer needs to die. So we get a shot out with our Montana. The destroyer gets away initially from the Schlieffen, but then gets spotted again, and the Schlieffen manages to finish him off. Now it is a 2 versus 1. We have our Schlieffen still alive, but barely. And we have the Montana, who has spent the entire game trying to chase us down, despite having the points lead, and all he had to do at any given moment was turn and run away, and his team could win this fight. Now here we are under, well, almost under 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes remaining in the match. We have a very similar hit points situation. Yeah, we have half our hit points. He has a little bit over 2/3 of his hit points. But there's not a huge disparity. One good salvo from either of these guys could flip this battle on its head, right? And they are both open up to one another. The enemy Montana is spotted here. Now, why would the enemy Montana be spotted this long? Simple. He's not running the concealment mod on his Montana. He's clearly running a camo. You can see that. It looks like the Stars and Stripes camo. But anyway, he's not actually running a concealment mod, which is absurd because of this situation exactly. He could have disengaged, took off, and ran. But worse than that, this guy, clearly inexperienced in the Montana, decides to open the angle. And now he's opened himself up to be Citadel right here. Beautiful shot. Doesn't get the Citadel, aims up a little bit too high, but the rear turrets have a much better look, and they just come up a little bit short too. However, if you look at the health pool, suddenly we're about even. But less than a minute to go. We get the front guns here, and I would be shocked if we don't Citadel them at this. Like, this angle has to be Citadel. And there it is. Over 28,000 damage done there. And the guy has less than a quarter of his health left. We've got the rear guns coming online here. Beautiful look. Again, aiming upper side plating. We're not aiming waterline here. We're aiming a little bit high, trying to get those pins through. And we are a few seconds away from being able to finish this Montana off. Picking up our quacking and clawing a victory back from the jaws of defeat. The enemy threw about as hard as you possibly could. 294,000 damage, Confederate Kraken Unleashed High Cow for 3,500 base XP in the Montana. Fantastic game sent in by Lars. Thank you so much for submitting it. And it's a great teaching moment for all of y'all out there to pay attention. Pay attention to your team. Pay attention to the points. Pay attention to the timer. Pay attention to who's got crossfires. All these little things add up over the course of the battle and can absolutely cost you in crucial battles like that. But let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button. Leave a comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And as always, I will see you in the next video.